So it is the winter time. Around the time I'm making this video, I just want to say, first of all, thank you all for the amazing support. I am so lucky and so fortunate, especially for the bulk of the time that I was doing royal readings, as I call it, on my channel, in regards to the British royal family, Kate and William, Harry and Meghan, real name Rachel, the whole 9 yards. It has been pretty incredible, from Vimeo to YouTube to everything else there possibly could be, that I've been able to, flex my spiritual gift and to look into the engagement, pre-wedding, and then officially Meghan and Harry being married. Was pretty crazy. So now we are in 2022 and there's a lot more stuff coming down the pipeline, I believe, for the royal family. 2021 for a lot of these celebrities, the royal families of the world, have been quite a challenge. I really feel like 2022 is going to be no different. Of late, I know recently Catherine's birthday came, and it was pretty low key. I didn't really see any photographs about where they went or what they did. So in true Kate fashion, with her husband William, soon to be Prince, soon to be King, actually, Prince William, soon to be King one day. It seemed pretty low key like usual, the family and all that. So I felt like going back in time a little bit to talk about Meghan and Harry, because why not, right? I think that you all enjoy my commentary. It's actually pretty cool to go back to other videos I've done and see all you guys' comments, if the comments was open or YouTube was functioning at the time, because not all the videos I've noticed had so many comments, but not all of them I could see for some strange reason. But the chat, the live chats, all that was so much fun. A totally different time though. And so now with the new year, something was crossing my mind in regards to Harry and Meghan. And I feel like expressing, how I feel currently about this couple. I do feel now that it's like the perfect time to kind of do a little bit of an analysis, a preview, if you will, of what has happened last year and the year before that and the year before that. Because I feel that this couple has really, shake the table. It's still crazy to me that Prince Harry is living in America, in California. Of all the things I thought that marriage on that very chaotic weekend, I mean, from hearing the news about Thomas Markle suffering a huge health crisis, and rumors that Thomas Markle was either not included, not invited, or the opposite, that he was, but he had a health complication. And I think that, like many things with this couple, we still don't have the truth. We still don't know exactly what exactly happened. It seems to be a lot of he said, she said, this royal versus this royal, this media outlet versus this media outlet, which is very unfortunate because, members of the royal family and even ex-senior royal members like Harry and Meghan are still royal members. They still represent a country. They still represent a commonwealth. They are still in charge of a lot of duty, if you will. So for me, the slender line between the celebrity world and being a royal and combining the two is crazy to me. And honestly, I feel that if Prince William and Catherine ever did anything like that, I would be just as shocked. It's not just because, Meghan is a native of California, born and raised, in some area of California, that it's surprising to me. I just think that, you know, going so far across the pond from London, England to California, America could not be any different. The culture, the food, the lifestyles, the tradition, the media practices, the media, the media in America is rough. It's also rough in England, but I think over here, a lot of these media outlets, they want the juiciest scoop. They will hide in bushes for that. They will pay people off. They will chase a car down. But on a bigger scale. Because in Europe, in some areas of Europe as well as Canada, there is certain restrictions, you all. Even though it is still very grimy and still very, dog eat dog, in Europe, the coverage is not as crazy. If there is a breaking news story about a royal member, for example, Sky News, a Sky News network, any Sky News channel, any channel like that, they're going to run the story for, I would say, the max 6 hours, not even that, and they're on to, politics. In America, there is a sensationalized celebrity story, and that is on rotation for years. There's been celebrity scuffles and public fights and lawsuits that we've been literally seeing recycled in the media in America for years. So the difference is vast. It's not any better, unfortunately, but the way that these stories are sensationalized in America and then profited off of versus, I think, anywhere else in the world, is quite distinct, and anybody who lives in America would know that. We have People Magazine, we have the Daily Mail, we have a little bit of European, we get everything in America. And in America, they cover everything, they look at everything, and they want the juiciest scoop. As far as I can tell with the European media, of course, they're going to want, the banging story, the hottest thing, but there's going to be a limit, there's going to be a little bit more class. Whereas in America, anything goes. You see what I'm saying? From podcasts to YouTube, we really have free range. The media has a lot of free range in America. And a lot of times when it comes to these celebrities, certain media outlets, they get, if for example, if somebody passed away tragically, a lot of times they're so on top of things with these celebrities here in America that these media outlets will get the story first before the family does. You would think that in a wholesome world, in a civilized society, that the members of the people that the family members of the people that passed away, whether it was an accident or they taken their own life, whatever the tragedy was, the magnitude of the tragedy, you would think that the family would know the news first, like you would think that these people, their friends and family, would get the information first. But we have certain media outlets in America where they know before the family knows, and by 6 o'clock in the morning, they already profited off of it, all the clicks and views, all the papers run out, all the social media they make a lot of money off of people's pain. You see what I'm saying? So with that said, I wanted to share my thoughts about more of the touchy subjects from my other review video. I did a video that was my reaction to Oprah Winfrey. Now, Oprah Winfrey is also American. If people don't know, yeah, Oprah Winfrey is American. So there you have it. Sensationalism, you know what I'm saying? They pick these people to talk about these very personal things, and for some reason in our country it's normalized. But I think that for the integrity of people's personal lives, I feel like things should change at some point, because we're seeing a high level of people hurting themselves, killing themselves. There's a lot right now in the media, I've realized, of recent of young people taking their own life. I mean, it's a lot of really really sad things, you know? So it kind of crossed my mind with hearing all this news about all these young people passing away and these people taking their life, and you know, the rates are going up and all this craziness. And I know that with the Oprah Winfrey reaction video, I said that I felt that when Meghan Markle, and when I said that when Meghan Markle was talking about taking her own life, because of the antics of what we saw, a lot of people felt that she was lying. You know, a lot of people were saying that, you know, it's not true and she's trying to cry wolf, and, you know, look at her behavior and look at how Harry's changed and look at how she's changing him, and except, you know, yada, yada, yada. But I was one of the many few, just in personal online, I said that I felt that that was true. You know, I told you all that I could see Meghan doing that. Why? Because when you're somebody, okay, who is raised by parents in show business, or at least one parent that was in show business, which was her father. Her father was like the foundation, you know, whether Meghan wants to admit it or not. I don't know, you know, I don't want to judge their own personal dynamic, but I think it's pretty obvious that based upon Thomas Markle, you know, working in the film industry, producing, etc., Meghan, I'm sure, took up that mantle, you know, in some way, shape, or form. Meghan must have liked what she saw enough to become an actress, you know, to become a blogger, to become a fashionista, to become going on game shows and hosting. I mean, Meghan Markle, at heart, you know, the real Meghan Markle was an actress, you know. That's what she wanted to do. So compare that to having to follow rules. If you respect the monarch, if you respect the queen, having to follow the fashion rules, the etiquette rules, the protocols, the royal engagements, the royal interviews, you know, the royal consorts, the teams, the royal PR, you know, you have this mega machine, European machine behind you, telling you what to do and how you should do it, is completely different than an American actress trying to land on a game show, you know, or get the biggest movie role of her life. I mean, that's not hard for me to understand. You know, all the coverage that I've seen and I've basically done, you know, as just a royal fan in general, you know, as a born British person, dual citizen, living in America, you know, the exposure, the knowledge I have about both countries, both cultures, I feel like it's not hard for me to understand that. You know, it's not hard for me to see that she could not do the job. You know, she was not cut out to be a princess in England. You know, I'm just going to put it just like that. I don't think that long term it would have worked unless Harry and Meghan wanted it to work. You see what I'm saying? Because anything in life that you want it to work, whether it's a relationship, a business partnership, a business, a brand, you know, you're going to have to put your all into it. You know, even with YouTubers like myself, you know, people that they call YouTubers or influencers or whatever, like, you got to go where your heart is leading you. You know, you have to do what feels right for you. And so Harry was one way, right? Now pivoting to Harry was the so-called third wheeler. You know, a lot of the engagements that I would see with William and Catherine, Harry was always a plus one. You know, Harry was always like a third wheeler, and it's not to be funny, but he was always behind them, or a lot of times, if you look at the photographs, he was always next to Catherine, you know, cracking a joke, you know, cheeky Harry. So that's who he was. And then we all thought, I guess most of us assumed that he was okay with being a working royal. I think people probably assume that after Diana's death, Harry was okay with being maybe a plus one to William and Catherine. But it turns out that he wasn't okay with it, you know, going based upon all the interviews I've seen of him complaining about his upbringing, complaining about his father, cutting him off from this and that, and, you know, being in a cage and all this crazy stuff. Like, it obviously seems that he didn't like what we thought he was okay with, you know, and that's okay, you know, like, we're all adults. And what I've learned as I get older, and I love getting older because with age comes wisdom. And I think that especially in more Western societies and other places in the world, you know, age is kind of looked down upon, but it really should not be, because through experience and through age and through just living life, you learn about yourself, you learn about other people, you know, you find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And as you get older, your priorities change. You know, your priorities should change if you're mature. So I'm looking back in 2022 and I'm like, I think that Harry, maybe it was a facade. You know, sadly enough, maybe when he was smiling with Catherine, I mean, he looked happy to me. Maybe it was a facade. Maybe the whole time he was bitching and complaining, you know, to royal staff about how he just wants to be a free boy and, you know, go to Las Vegas and do strip poker, you know, because that's what he was doing. You know, I remember when the news broke that Harry was caught, there was photographic evidence of Harry playing strip poker in Las Vegas. You know, I'll never forget that. And I thought to myself, why would a prince put himself and his family in a compromising situation? Why would he purposely go to a very risque party or hangout situation? And you know, people are going to take pictures of you. You know, people are going to, even if there's no pictures that they could have found, you know, the paparazzi or whatnot, you know that somebody next door or down the hall of the hotel or wherever the hell he was at would have said something. You know, I'm pretty sure that if, you know, if even if a bartender or you know, a guest with their family or somebody, or, you know, somebody probably playing poker, then goes back up to their hotel room and they hear this huge noise and they hear Prince Harry's voice. I mean, somebody's gonna gossip. You see what I'm saying? So even from then, a certain behavior that Harry exhibited, I never understood, like, why is he doing that? But now what I'm seeing, what's being reconfirmed to me is that I don't think he ever cared. You know, I don't think, and maybe, you know, I don't want to, it's hard to describe, but it's like, I don't think he really cared, you all, because like I said, you are a prince. You know, you're a prince. Whether you wanted to be born a prince or not is not really a choice. You know, every royal family in the world, you know, every royal family in the world has kids that come into the world and they have no idea that they're royalty until they're like 5 or 10 or 7. And their parents, I'm sure, their great-grandparents and, you know, royal staff have to sit them down and say, you know, you're a princess, right? You know, you're a prince, right? You know, you're not going to be able to go to the regular school or go here or go to the park. You know, you got to have security. You know, you've got to sit a certain way. You've got to talk a certain way. You've got to eat a certain way. You know, that's hard for any child. So I realize that, you know, I have always had that in the back of my mind that, oh, you know, for William and Harry, it must have been terrible. But the difference is that I feel that it's not entirely separate. You know, William and Harry are brothers. William and Harry are brothers. So my perspective has always been, okay, what Harry went through, William most likely went through, and they were supposed to help each other. There was supposed to be some kind of solution, compensation for losing their mother. I mean, that's kind of like common sense. So whenever Harry talks, he makes it seem like it's just him, but it's not just him. Like, William also, maybe even more so pressure, because, you know, the little joke, the little smirky joke that used to go around and still goes around is that Harry is a spare. Okay, let's keep it real. You know, people have always looked at William as a go-to, you know, not Harry, you know. So Harry was never in the hot seat as, oh, you're going to be the next king of England. That was always William, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was always in the media. It was always just amongst quiet circles, personal. Just, I've always heard people say William is the next king after Charles, if they're going to go the absolute traditional route, everything in order, pecking order, nothing mixed up, nothing changed. William was always going to be the next king after Charles, always. So I don't understand where this whole thing comes in as like, it's Harry that was supposed to be king. It's Harry that is under all of this pressure. Like, people to this day still say that Harry is a spare. I've even heard royal biographers and journalists and book writers say that Harry was always deemed as a spare. So, you know, you live a life of luxury. You live a life of privilege at the highest degree in the world. Like, let's keep it real. You're living amongst kings and queens, living and dead. You know, you go to certain locations, St. George's Chapel, Victoria Park, Clarence House, anywhere you go, and there's history. You know, there's that royal blood history. So I think that it's kind of comical to put Harry in the box of William's pressure, because William has always had more pressure than Harry, always. And even from the beginning of time, when I can remember when Harry was dating Chelsea, and then Crescenda, I think it's Crescenda or Crescenda, sorry if I pronounce her name wrong, you all, Crescenda Bones or Cressida, I don't know how you say her name, sorry, but the C one, okay? He always dates the C girls, Chelsea, Crescenda. There's a couple other ones he dated that were, you know, famous and well-known in social circles. So what I'm saying is, everybody always had the assumption that knows how this goes, that Harry is not in the same hot seat as William. Yes, there's pressure. Yes, there's pressure. But the camera is not on him. Like, the spotlight is not deemed on Harry alone, or mainly. You know, and that's evident. That was evident to me when William and Catherine would do their public royal engagements with or without Harry. That was very well known. Even when there was rufflings about William popping the question to propose to Catherine, that was always a thing that, of course William has to pick the best English rose. Of course William has to find the best wife because he could be king one day. Always. Now, when it comes to Harry, I've never heard that. I have never heard anybody say, oh yes, you know, Harry must marry, you know, the best English rose because he will be king. I've never heard that. I've always heard it with William. I've never heard it with Harry. So to this day, when you see William and Catherine together, they've taken up a huge mantle, you all. They have had to do a lot of work that Meghan and Harry were supposed to do. But because Harry and Meghan stepped down, that's done now, okay? That's over as far as we know, because apparently Harry is complaining that he wants more money or more support or more legal backing to provide his own security when he goes back to the UK. But this is the same UK, this is the same England, the same London, England that Harry says triggers him, is not safe for him and his kids, not safe for him and his wife. So I'm not understanding, like, if someplace, right, if a place is not safe for you to even visit, why are you trying to go back there? Why are you trying to enter into a country that you're claiming is racist, is against your family? You know, so a lot of things that, in my opinion, a lot of things that Harry says and does is very contradicting. Because if I was super afraid and I genuinely felt that a country or the people that are surrounding me were racist, I would not go there. I would not entertain them. I would not support their products. I would not want to make an appearance. I just wouldn't go there. I just wouldn't go there. So the fact that there's all this ruffling about Harry taking certain people to court and suing the government, to me is crazy, because what this is really the queen. Like, what he's really doing is questioning the queen. You know that, right? Because she's the only person besides the prime minister and a couple other people that have the power to make these executive decisions. It's all the queen's doing. When it goes back to square one, it's the queen. And the queen is Harry's grandmother. So that whole spinoff, to me, that whole situation happening right now is questionable, because after what happened to your mother, after what's been happening to your wife, according to what you think, according to what your perception is, why would you go back to some place that doesn't like you? And, you know, based upon the comments that I see or the things that I hear when some people bring certain things up, you know, I always hear people say that they believe that there's no reason as to why they would want to come back, unless they're either trying to get more money, or they regret leaving. Maybe they want to take back their senior roles. You know, that would be crazy to me. Like, truth be told, I think that it would be insane if Harry releases a memoir and people in Meghan's camp or people that know Meghan, you know, they want to get their 15 minutes of fame, you know, off of all this drama, and then they want to go right back in the royal family and wave, is crazy to me. You know, pick a side. You know, pick a side. Either you're going to be against it and you're not going to want to participate, or you're going to participate and you're going to follow the rules. Which one is it? And I think that based upon what, you know, a lot of these rich celebrities that are close to the royal couple or the ex-royal couple say, is that, you know, they're very free and they're very independent and very passionate about their charities. Okay, so then keep it that way. You know, keep it that way. But the issue is that there's also rufflings that they can't afford their Montecito mansion. There's been a lot of rufflings that this whole financially independent talk ain't working out so well for Harry and Meghan. And we've all said that, is that the pressure, right? The pressure of Hollywood, the pressure of Meghan's universe, because this is really Meghan's universe, you know, being amongst actors and actresses and directors and creatives is not Harry's forte. That's not Harry's world. Harry's world is being super dapper, you know, representing the Commonwealth, working for the Queen, you know, trying to carry on Diana's legacy. That was Harry's universe. So if anything is hard, it's Harry trying to fit into Meghan's world. If anything is hard, in my opinion, because to go from being a prince where you have butlers and cleaners and people, you know, waiting on hand and foot to fluff you, to Mr. and Mrs. Independent, you know, in the Hollywood Hills, trying to land a primetime special, trying to land a book deal, trying to, it's laughable. You know, I'm not buying the book. You know, any book that they will ever print, I will never buy, period. Because to sell salacious information for money is disgusting. And if William and Catherine did the same thing, I would be very concerned for the monarch. I would definitely probably protest or boycott. I mean, for sure. I mean, I would probably be one of the people that would say, you know, they need to get out of there. Because if they think that it's okay to write a book about the queen's dirty knickers and then, you know, smile in her face and stab her in the back, I would be highly upset. So we can only thank God that William and Catherine are not so fame hungry that they're going to be doing the same thing that William and Meghan are doing. I mean, that Harry and Meghan are doing. Because if they were that kind of royal couple where they have to have the camera on them, they have to have the media up their butt, you know, we would never see the end of this drama. It would never end, people. So the only two people right now who are trying to pivot into this Hollywood-esque energy is Harry and Meghan. So I think that for the time being, based upon their behavior, based upon their personal goals in life, because I don't see them wanting to listen to anybody, you know, and they're adults. So by them just being naturally, you know, full-grown, blown adults, I mean, with children, they are going to have their own opinion, you know, they are going to want to do things their way. But the difference is that being a part of a royal family, you don't have that leisure, you know, you don't have that privilege of picking and choosing. And I think that, you know, people who are entertained or curious about William and Catherine should be very proud, because I've never seen any inkling, you know, of William and Catherine trying to go down that Hollywood route. You know, they've gone to premieres, but it's very distinguished. It's very controlled. It's not where they're trying to take selfies, you know, and run into the crowd and act like wild banshees. I mean, there's a certain order to it. Whereas I can recall seeing a photograph of Meghan and Harry, and Meghan was in a complete cutout. The whole dress, I mean, I would not even wear that. The whole dress was cut out around her cleavage area, her back, everything was out. And Harry is holding her hand like he's Brad Pitt on the red carpet. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like, you know, if this was William and Catherine's behavior, I'd be sick to my stomach. I'd be like, this is a joke, because royals don't act like this. They don't. When you're representing a whole commonwealth, a whole bunch of different countries, you don't behave like that. You just don't behave like that. So why? I mean, I'm gonna speak a little. I mean, I'm not. You know what? Pause. I was going to say I was going to be the voice for people that live in England that don't like this, but I'm not even going to say that, because people can flip-flop. You know, one moment they hate them, one moment they love them, so I'm not going to even go down that rabbit hole. But what I will support of the voice of people who do live in England and other British countries and cities is what I will piggyback and say in agreement with them, in support of them, is that they should not have to pay for that. You know, they should not have to pay for that vulgar behavior. Like, if they don't want to follow rules, if they don't want to be a part of that whole way of living, lifestyle, duty, job, then don't. You know, it's so funny that when people always talk about success or getting to where they want to be in life, from celebrities to politicians, you know, the common thread that I always hear is, if you don't want to do something, if you're not happy in a relationship or a job, then you don't have to be. You know, nobody is telling you to. You know, like, if you have the opportunity to get out of something that you don't want to be a part of, then do it. But do it with dignity. Do it with class. You know, do it in a way where you're not dragging other people down behind you. And that's the issue, is that Harry and Meghan, they've made their great escape. You know, they've done the Lifetime movies. They've done the Oprah Winfrey interview. They've done everything, you know, but at the royal family's expense. And I think that they would have had a happier life, a more peaceful life, if they just chose, know, if they just chose to not try to, I feel, drum up more attention, to try to lure more negative attention. If they just kind of did their own thing and, you know, bought their beautiful mansion, you know, raised their kids, what's wrong with that? You know, why do they have to then therefore get interviews and book deals and embarrass themselves, embarrass their family? Why? You know, if they really just want a privacy, then be private, you know, as possible. You know, obviously you're going to be spotted in the street if you try hard enough, if you have all these people walking behind you. I get it. But, you know, there's a lot of celebrities, you know, a lot of people, even royals in the world, who live a quiet life. You know, there's a lot of people who are very well known and famous, but they don't draw attention to themselves. You know, they still have money, they still get by, they still, I'm sure, live a very luxurious lifestyle, but they don't draw more attention than needed, is what I'm saying. So based upon their behavior, why would the British people, why would the Queen, why would anybody who's worked closely with the royal family, including the royals, the main senior royals, want Harry and Meghan to cause a scene? They wouldn't. So I think that for the time being, even if Harry releases that memoir and anything else they try to do to get attention or money or fame, you know, is their own loss. You know, at the end of the day, all their drama is like going to be, it's going to be, it's going to overshadow all the achievements and all the accomplishments and all the good in the world that they could do. And that was my hope from the very beginning when I heard that Meghan was going to marry Harry and this was a legit thing according to their own love story. I said, you know, this would be a great opportunity to do things for women of color, people less privileged, minorities, you know, kids' education, impoverished countries. You know, I felt that they could have used their fame, their platform for so much more. And instead, it's just the Meghan and Harry show. So that's very disappointing for me. You know, it's still very disappointing for me. And I felt that, you know, things could have been a lot different. But I think that, you know, with the way they're carrying on, trying to sue the government, throw Charles and William and Catherine under the bus, you know, it's best, you all, that they stay in America. You know, let them shoot their arrows and their darts from America. Because if they were to go back to England and do all this, it would be a freak show. So thank you all for watching. I love you all. Mwah. Bye.